Hello, this is Matthew Robert Payne and not Taylor Swift. This is a book dedicated to Taylor Swift. This is called Living a Life of Eternal Significance, and we'd really love Taylor to read this book. This is chapter 6, When Having Everything Still Feels Empty.
Wow.
And Tolu's going to talk, and then I'm going to talk, and then King Solomon's going to talk.
Wow. When having everything still feels empty. And Matthew, you're going to focus and drop that your phone.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I've put the phone away.
one of the most frightening discoveries a human being can make is this. You can arrive at the life you once prayed for and still feel internally incomplete. I've been there several times. I will pray for a breakthrough. God will give me the breakthrough, and I will be like, so what next? You're thinking of the next thing, the next, the next. There's still that sense of restlessness in you. And this is the tension that is quietly haunting many successful people. Not failure, success. Because failure still allows people to believe maybe fulfillment exists on the other side of achievement. And I think I love throwing Matthew under the bus a lot. But I know that this is one of the things that Matthew dreads. Matthew is always thinking that when a lot of people are watching his videos and is receiving so many comments, he's going to be fulfilled. But that's not the case. It's a trap. Trap of like they elevate. Oh, Matthew, I love that message. It's so profound. Then another person says one negative thing, and that you forget about all of the positive comments you read. Like if I've got a lot of comments on my channel, I will tell you I wouldn't be looking at it because I won't want it to sway me either right or left. I just want to be who I am. So, but what happens when achievement arrives? When you receive all those comments, what happens? There's still emptiness. And this is where the voice of King Solomon becomes profoundly important because King Solomon was not speaking about success theoretically. He experienced it at all levels. Most human beings never will. He possessed the influence, the recognition, the wealth, the intellectual greatness, the luxury, the power, the accomplishment, the pleasure, the beauty, the admiration, and access to nearly every earthly desire available to a man. And yet, beneath all of it, a deep realization slowly emerged. The soul remained hungry. Wow. It's always hungry. That soul is never satisfying. And this is what makes Ecclesiastes, which I always find difficult to pronounce, that Ecclesiastes,
Ecclesiastics.
feel emotionally unsettling for me because it's the sound of a man discovering that external fulfillment and internal fulfillment are not the same thing. And I'm thinking of it for the first time because it seems as if King Solomon has got this quality from King David. King David wrote a lot about Psalm. Psalm was emotionally unsettling for me as well. But they've been both transparent about their life in the Bible. Isn't it? That's so beautiful. I've never looked at it like that, but today I'm just thinking, yes, both of them have got that a lot of information in the Bible that's where they are detailing their raw emotions. So it's not like maybe you're just deceiving, like putting a mask on. They're telling you, King Solomon have experienced all of this, and it's still vanity upon vanity. So it's the sound of a man discovering that external fulfillment and internal fulfillment are not the same thing. And perhaps this is why many highly successful people quietly carry forms of sadness they struggle to explain, because society teaches people to pursue achievement as though arrival itself will heal them. But from a young age, many are conditioned to believe success will create peace. That's what we instill in our children. Money will create security. Recognition will create significance. Relationship will remove loneliness. Achievement will produce wholeness. It's a lie. It is a lie. There's so many married people that are still alone. And temporarily, these things often do create emotional stimulation. But stimulation is not the same thing as fulfillment. Yes, you might feel excited for 1 hour. Like when I publish a new book, I'm excited and it's gone. I'm on the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one. And this distinction changes everything because excitement fades, achievement normalizes, your luxury becomes familiar, your success quickly becomes the new baseline. The soul adapts to almost everything external. And I don't know whether Matthew have heard of it, but there's so many people have read their story. They go to the remote village, they go and live inside the wood, and they see that they find happiness where there's no distraction of flashy things, of having this, of comparing. People find peace, they find happiness when they're alone somewhere. And what once felt extraordinary eventually becomes ordinary. And that's why more becomes such a dangerous cycle. And I think if we can get to a stage in our life where our happiness depends on God, like where the source of your happiness is derived from God, it's not derived from what you have, it's not derived from your partner, from people, that is when you'll be able to get to a healthy state of joy. And this is why more becomes such a dangerous cycle. And people assume the emptiness exists because they are not rich enough. So they pursue more influence, more visibility, more wealth, more experiences, more possessions, more recognition, more success. But the deeper problem is not quantity. There was a time I'm like, oh, I need to go back to university. I need to go and do my PhD. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a professor. All of those things don't have any relevance to me anymore. After Ben passed away, all of those things that I was pursuing, I just discard them because they don't have meaning to me anymore. The only thing that has meaning, that fills up my emptiness, is my relationship with God. And the deeper problem is not quantified, it is expectation. Yes, the deeper problem is not quantified. It is human beings keep asking temporary things to perform external roles. People unconsciously expect money to heal insecurity. No, it's not going to. Success to heal insignificance. No, it's not going to. Pleasure to heal emptiness. No, it is not. Matthew could tell you when he gets his pleasure from his cyber wherever, but there's still emptiness like 10 minutes after. He's forgotten he just had a pleasure. I wish he learns from that, but
I don't forget 10 minutes later.
You forget, Matthew. Attention to heal loneliness, achievement to heal identity. But temporary things cannot permanently satisfy internal hunger. Did you think about it throughout the rest of the day, Matthew? The pleasure you've had? Do you remember it maybe 4 hours after?
No, not really, because things are fleeting.
Exactly. And this is why some of the wealthiest, some most admired, most outwardly successful people still battle depression, addiction, anxiety, exhaustion, loneliness, emptiness, or despair. Externally, they arrived, internally, something still aches. And often this creates deep confusion because successful people are rarely allowed to admit their emptiness honestly. Society assumes achievement should equal fulfillment. And so when successful people still feel restless, many secretly blame themselves. Why am I still unhappy? Why does none of this feel enough? Why do I feel hungry after arriving here? And I guess all of these external things, in a way, they don't make me happy. So because of that, I don't run after them. Because I don't derive joy from going for holiday. Ask Ben. He has to drag me out of the house to go for holiday. I am not interested because I don't derive joy from it. Because for me, it's like I'm still changing location, but I'm still in the same house. But it's just location. It's in Portugal. It's no longer in UK. I remember taking the girls to Portugal, and all I could see is like I was still in UK. It doesn't look like holiday to me. I'm thinking, what do people just derive from all of this pleasure? But King Solomon's life reveals something deeply important. The emptiness itself is not proof that success failed. It is proof that soul was designed for more than success alone. And this is one of the great misunderstandings of modern culture. If Christians could just understand this, they would be the most joyful people in heaven. That their soul is created to have a relationship with God. And that is when they feel the fullness. They don't need to be chased around. They don't need to be chased to paradise, to be chased to hell, to have a relationship with God. If they know that that is what their soul has been yearning for. And people assume humans are primarily material beings and spiritual with spiritual interests. No, but the scripture presents humanity different. Humans are eternal beings, temporarily interacting with material things. And eternal beings cannot be fully satisfied by temporary experiences alone. And this is why even beautiful things eventually reveal limitations, not because they are evil, but because they are incomplete. Money can improve comfort, but not ultimate peace. Luxury can stimulate the senses, but not heal the soul. Achievement can create the admiration, but not permanent identity. Relationship can provide love, but not replace God. And this is the hidden tragedy inside excess. Excess often creates the illusion that another experience, another purchase, another achievement, another accomplishment will finally satisfy the hunger within. But the hunger is deeper than material reality can reach. And this is why some people become addicted to achievement. They become addicted to expansion, to entertainment, to luxury, to stimulation, to romance, to recognition, to accumulation. The list goes on. Not because they are evil, but because the soul keeps searching for something material things cannot fully provide. And perhaps this is why highly successful people often become trapped in endless movement, still building, still chasing, still expanding, still consuming. Because slowing down will force confrontation with deeper internal questions. Why am I still restless? You need to ask yourself, what is all of this actually for? Why does fulfillment fade so quickly? Why do I feel empty after getting what I wanted? It's just like a couple that wants to have sex. Before they have the sex, they're full of excitement. After the sex, you even forget that you've just had a sex. So why does God create all of this excitement in this way? I guess maybe God is telling us something. Your soul will never be at peace until you connect it to me, until you have a deeper relationship to your source. You are trying to live without your source, but your source is wanting to connect with you. And you're still trying to find satisfaction in things that will never give you satisfaction anyway. So King Solomon eventually confronted these questions honestly. And that honesty is what makes his writing so powerful. He did not pretend earthly success fully satisfied him. He exposed the limitation of it. This does not mean success is meaningless. It means success is incomplete. A beautiful meal is meaningful, but no meal permanently removes hunger forever. No, I eat something and the next 5 minutes I want to eat something else. In the same way, achievement can be enjoyed deeply while still being unable to fully satisfy the eternal dimensions of the soul. And this is why King Solomon repeatedly used languages like vanity, striving, and chasing after the wind. And not because life contained no beauty, but because he realized temporary things constantly slip through human hands emotionally. And every earthly experience eventually fades. The excitement fades, the applause fades, the beauty fades. I remember there was a celebrity, I saw the picture on Facebook, and they're saying, oh, she's already looking old. She's going to look old. Beauty is going to fade. Trend is going to fail. Power is going to fail. Youth is going to fail. When I look at Matthew when he was younger, he looks so different, so handsome. I'm like, is this the same Matthew? But he will fade. Like, I used to look different as well. When I was younger, it's normal. And even legacy eventually fades in human memory. And this realization can initially feel terrifying, especially for ambitious people who build their life around reaching more. I know a man now currently that swallows about over 100 tablets every day because he wants to live forever. Is that not a fool? You can't live forever. So he eats horrible food, does, what do you call it? Physical activities are very strenuous because he wants to live forever. I don't know why he wants to live here forever. But hidden inside King Solomon's revelation is actually messy because the soul's inability to fully satisfy by material things protect humanity from worshiping them completely. And the restlessness itself becomes a signal, a reminder that human beings were created for intimacy with God, We're created for meaning. We're created for eternal connection with God. We're created for relationship with God beyond temporary experience. And this is why people often feel strange forms of emptiness even during success, because the soul recognizes that the mind often resists. There must be more than this. And King Solomon's life becomes powerful precisely because he reached places most people dream about, yet still discovered achievement alone could never heal eternal organ. Ask my friend Tiffany in heaven. Tiffany was almost a billion, or maybe she was a billionaire, but she was still not happy. There was still something missing. And that's not because success is wrong, but because success was never designed to become salvation. And perhaps you need to tell the church they should preach the real gospel and they should leave money alone, because they've turned money to salvation and they've forgotten about Jesus himself. So, and perhaps this is the deeper wisdom hidden inside Ecclesiastes. The problem is not possessing earthly things. Let me repeat that. The problem is not possessing earthly things. So don't blame Taylor Swift for having money. The problem is expecting earthly things to satisfy eternal longing. And you're still in heaven, and you're still expecting all the fun things of heaven, all the fancy things that you've got in heaven. You think it's going to satisfy your eternal longing? No, it can never. You'll continually be restless, even in heaven. So it doesn't matter where you are. There needs to be a connection to your Savior, a real connection that you're willing to make, not a connection you're forced to do through your, what do you call that, manual pack that they're giving you. You want to really have a connection.
Resource
pack. You're not doing it because you have to do it to stay in heaven, but you're yearning for a real relationship. And that's when your soul will find peace, because eternally inside the human soul will always hunger for something deeper than accumulation can provide, than heaven's resources can provide. And this is why having everything can still feel empty, and why intimacy with God remains the only thing capable of touching the deepest hunger within the human spirit. God bless.
You know, it's hard to follow that up. That was just such an extraordinary teaching. Can you imagine having a dream of going on holidays to Hawaii, and you always thought of going to Hawaii? Imagine entering a competition one day and it says you can move to Hawaii and we'll give you a job and a house and you can settle in Hawaii. Imagine filling out the competition and winning the competition, and you finally move to Hawaii and you're living there, you got a job, and it's just your dream place.
Mm.
That's what happens when people go to heaven. They get there and they're complacent.
Mm.
They become complacent. That's all the Christian church preaches. They preach, do this, do this, do this, and one day you'll go to heaven. But that's not the true message. And that's not what's going to satisfy your soul. Your soul is spiritual. Your spirit and your soul is spiritual, and it's got a hunger in it. And people don't recognize that. The people live on earth, they don't recognize what they're searching for. They search for significance on their Instagram followers. They search for significance having a popular podcast, and a popular podcast has to have about half a million subscribers, but a really popular one has 2 or 3 million, and you have millions of people listen and you make millions of dollars on your podcast. Suddenly you've arrived. But you look at people running those podcasts and they're not happy.
Absolutely.
They're still complaining. They've still got issues. They've still got taxes. They've still got worries. They've still got to face higher petrol prices. So people live their life with this illusion propagated by the church and propagated by other religions, that one day they'll be in heaven and everything will be great.
Yeah.
But if they arrive to heaven without an intimate connection with God, they'll find that they won't be fully satisfied in heaven. They'll be in Hawaii, but there's levels of depth in heaven, there's levels of growth in heaven, and they'll never achieve those things unless they put the shovel in the ground and start digging up soil. So it
Mm.
takes work in this life to achieve things, and many people are successful and achieve things, but they get to that dream destination, they get that house in Hawaii and that perfect job. They arrive at this destination, millionaire, billionaire, whatever the destination is that they set for themselves. They get there and suddenly things are empty. And
Mm.
they look around and they say, "Well, I have got few friends now. Not many people understand how it is to be a billionaire. Everyone wants money from me, but
Wow.
where's the satisfaction?" You
Wow.
know, what famous band said, "I got no satisfaction." And
Mm.
and but John Lennon was onto it. Yeah, many Christians would say John Lennon is in heaven, but John
Mm.
Lennon's sang a song, or the Beatles sang a song. All you need is love. Now, when you love people
Mm.
and when you express love for people, when you use your finances and your wealth to bless people and help people, and you build people up with love, you find something that your spirit is satisfied with.
Wow.
You'll get more joy out of serving homeless people in a homeless hostel than you probably get from any other thing.
Mm.
Reaching out to people with love and friendship, and a warm meal on a cold, windy winter night is something that has to be experienced to fully understand what it is. Why is it that giving gives us so much satisfaction? Because we're expressing love.
Mm.
And it says in 1 John, I don't know what chapter and verse, it says in 1 John, God is love.
Yeah.
It says later in 1 John, how can you say you love God when you hate your brother?
Mm.
People look at that verse and they say, well, I don't hate anyone. And that's true. I don't hate anyone. And so most people look at that verse and can't understand it. But Jesus said, unless you hate your mother, brother, sisters, families, lands, possessions, in account of me, you're not worthy of me. And so
Wow.
Jesus wasn't saying to hate your mum, hate your dad, hate your sister, hate your wife, your children, your land and possessions. He was saying, unless you love these people and these things less than me, you're not worthy of me.
Mm.
Right, so when Jesus expressed the word hate, you can't. When John expressed the word, you can't love God and hate your brother. It it means that you can't say you love God and love your brother less than you love yourself. And so many people walk past people that are lonely and begging. So many people have people in their life that they could help, but they've closed themselves off. They've proven that they're not a loving person. They've proven that they're a stingy person and they don't share. When people are desperate, they go begging, they go asking, and they approach someone that they think is a caring individual. Well, they won't ask you 5 times. If you give to them the first time, the next time they're in trouble, you're a safe harbour. You're someone that can be trusted, and they'll come and get a loan. And good-hearted people come and get a loan from you. They don't ask you for money without saying that they're going to repay it. Jesus said that why do you lend money to the Pharisees? Why do you lend money to the rich? Because you know that they'll repay you, but go and lend money to people that can't pay you back,
Mm.
because in heaven you'll be rewarded. And so Jesus said, lending money to people who are going to pay you back is no better than sinners, no better than people that are outside of the church. So, the most honest people outside of the church, they'll come and
Mm.
ask for a loan. They won't ask for $200 cash. They'll ask for a loan. Can I loan this until my next paycheck? And they'll meet their debts and they'll pay it back. And they know if they got a loan off you one time, they can come and get a loan off you on another time. So you become like a safe bank for them. When they're desperate, they'll come to you. So this is I use the term a lot in my teaching, being a person who a person can come to in a time of need is manifesting the Christos,
Wow.
the essence of Jesus.
Wow.
Do you think if you approached Buddha and asked him for a loan, do you think he'd refuse you?
Mm.
Buddha was said to be a prophet or be a holy man that just appears once every century. Buddha manifested the Christos. He didn't know Jesus, but if you look into the things Buddha said and what Jesus said, they actually match each other like a glove.
Mm.
Right? Actually, you'd be a more effective Christian if you're a Buddhist
Wow.
than growing up in the church. The church would corrupt you. So part of dealing dealing with the emptiness is learning to live outside of yourself, uh, learning how to turn your wealth and your gifts and your abilities onto other people and manifesting the essence or the spirit of Christ. And that's why when I mentioned I'll keep on going back because it astounded me when I looked up the 20 richest people in the world and found that 8 of them have a major arm in their business of philanthropy. Then I realized that we've been sold a lie. It's not the rich people
Mm.
that are bad people. It's not the rich people that are evil people. It's not the rich people that need to be taxed at 90%. The rich people employ 20,000 people, and all those 20,000 people pay tax.
Absolutely.
The rich people pay capital gains tax and government excises and import duties and all sorts of taxes on everything. The rich people pay enough tax. There's only one rich person with 20,000 or 50,000 employees. Can't he just pay his tax through his employees? We look at the rich and we don't like them because we think in their wealth is all our answers. But you talk to
Mm.
some of these rich people and they're like lost at sea in a rubber boat.
Wow.
They're lost. And they're looking, people like Taylor and people like Kanye West. Kanye West become a Christian and started to find answers in Christ and went and got close to Joel Osteen because Joel Osteen was a successful preacher, had a big television ministry, and he went to a very successful Christian to align with him. I was sent at that time to appear in Kanye West's dream and talk to him and give him advice about Joel Osteen and how he'd come out of darkness in the music industry and gone into darkness in the Christian community. And I won't mention what the darkness is, but you can imagine what it is. So you've you got to find a purpose for living. You got to connect yourself to God so that you can manifest the Christos. You got to not only love people and be loved by people and be part of a community, but you've got to shine the light of Christ. You've got to
Wow.
be a Christ. You've got to be a walking Christ on earth. And that's how you'll fill that empty void. That's how you'll stop being empty. Having an intimate relationship with God, having intimacy with God, and manifesting your love and sharing your love. Now, you might necessarily not need to be close to God to fill that emptiness, because lots of people demonstrate that they're happy, but the people who are truly happy are sharing their love and sharing their resources and sharing the gifts. If you hoard it all to yourself and collect it all for yourself and everything's for yourself, it's like a river that has no flow. If if you stop the flow of a river, it becomes dead. That's what the Dead Sea is. So you slowly die if you hoard everything to yourself. You may have the most wealth in the world, but you'd be the most unhappiest person. So your life has got to have something that flows into it and something that flows out of it. So I hope you were blessed with my humble words that I had to say, and I'll pass you over to Solomon. So this is Solomon. I have to say, Matthew and Tolu, it's very hard following Act 1 and Act 2. I'm called in to do Act 3, and I feel like the message has been said, but take it from
Mm,
me. I've been the wealthiest man in the world.
mm,
I've been a powerful king in one of the most powerful nations.
mm,
I've had more gold than anyone. I've had more resources than anyone. I've had more wives than anyone. I've had more buildings, more possessions, more fun than anyone.
mm.
And in the book of Ecclesiastics, I encourage all those people listening to this message telepathically. I encourage you all go and find the book Ecclesiastics after
Mm.
Proverbs in the Bible and read what he says there. Read what I say there, because it's disturbing. It's disturbing for someone who possesses everything the world hungers for
Mm.
and has a conclusion that says it's all meaningless. It's like
Wow.
chasing after the wind.
Wow.
That's the destination, guys. That's your Hawaii. That's the
Mm.
place you always wanted to be. What if you arrive at that Hawaii and it's boring and there's no purpose? What if
Wow.
you've been sold a lie? I had it all. And yet, if you read Ecclesiastics, I share some really special wisdom in there. It's a very good read, and people who aren't religious, who have never attended a church and don't officially want to be involved in religion, I encourage you to read that book. In the end of the
Wow.
book, I said, my conclusion is you need to love and serve God and obey everything He tells you to do.
Mm.
That was my conclusion. It ended
Mm.
with who God is, have a relationship with God, and do what He says.
Wow.
And that's my answer to you guys. All you guys, you wealthy people reading this book who've been attracted to this book, uh, people who want to use their life to have eternal significance. I'm
Wow.
someone who can speak on that subject, and that's why I've been brought in as a guest author and a guest speaker. My life has eternal significance. People still read my proverbs and take my advice. I'm giving my advice to millions, if not billions of people every day, and I'm still
Mm.
speaking. I'm affecting the affairs of earth, and I'm affecting the affairs of heaven. And the most important job, what I said yesterday, is my most important job is to being a deeply close and friendly and intimate friend of God.
Wow.
And I can share with you from heaven from the inside. I'm part of the inner circle. You know, any leader has an inner circle of people. He can't deal with the 300 million people. Trump can't deal with the 300 million people in America. He's got to have 100 close people, and then he's got to have 10 or 20, and then down to even 5 people in the middle. Well, I'm in the 20 closest to God.
Mm.
I'm in his inner circle. I can tell you from God's perspective, from being one of the closest people to God, God is depressed and sad and angry,
Mm.
and he needs your love. He needs your support. He
Wow.
needs your understanding. He's unseen. There's a forward-facing God, and you see that in the Bible, and you see that in people's sermons, and you see that in books. And some people have revelation on who God really is. Very few people do, but there is a forward-facing God. There's a God that you think you know. There's a God that you've heard about. Then there's a backward-facing God. And the backward facing God is when he's really honest with people. I'm not saying God isn't honest, but you'll never get the honesty out of him. For example, if one person was feeling really suicidal, only 1 or 2 people in his life will get the hint that the friend is suicidal. He may say something, I've had enough of
Wow.
this life, or a casual comment. He won't say it clearly, but he'll give a hint. And if you got your ears open, you'll know that he's suicidal. He may have 100 people around him,
Mm.
and there may only be 1 or 2 people that he offers. I've just looked forward to being in heaven one day. I'm sick of this life. And to many people, that's just a common sentence.
Yeah.
It's just a common thing, someone would say. People say that every day. Millions of people have said that statement today. But
Mm.
unless you've got an intimate relationship with him, you won't recognize that's a warning. You
Wow.
won't recognize he's saying, I want to kill myself.
Mm.
Well, the same way, God's backward facing God is like being that intimate friend.
Wow.
God can't share his heart with people. God can't be honest with people.
Mm.
God can't talk to people. And he needs friends. He needs you. So
Wow.
how you can fill that emptiness that you find when you've got everything and you've
Wow.
achieved all your dreams. When you're living in Hawaii, you've got that dream job and you're living on the beach and
Mm.
everything doesn't seem perfect. The way that you can fill that emptiness is developing a very close and intimate relationship with God, becoming closer to the Holy Spirit so you can develop the Christos, the essence of Christ, and to love people with your gifts and your money and every way that you can. Be someone who gets the flow of the river into yourself from God and a revelation from God and the Holy Spirit, gets an inward flow from God and people and community and your workplace, get an inward flow and then have an outward flow. If you haven't got an outward flow where you're blessing people, encouraging people, building people up, being the answer for people, then your life will be stagnant. And that's really a key that I share for you why you're empty, because you're dead. You're a dead
Mm.
sea. You've got stuff flowing in, but you've got nothing flowing out.
Wow.
So find that source. You need that source. You need to have that source so you don't die. So 3 things I want to leave you with. Seek God. Be his friend. Be the friend of the Trinity. Become a close friend of the Holy Spirit and Jesus. And develop the Christos from that relationship. develop
Wow.
the essence of Christ, learn to obey the 50 commandments of Jesus and the 54 parables of Jesus. Buy books by Tolu and Matthew on that subject, and then have an outward flow to other people who need your love and need your gifts. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say.
Wow. That was profound, King Solomon. Thank you.
So, do you think I climbed on top of you too?
Oh, you did. You did. The
It just
way.
gets better and better.
Yeah. I'm enjoying this book, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rightio, we'll close it here, and you and Matthew can chat.